Hi, my beautiful Cancer signs. This is your astrology for the month of May. All right, you have a lot of self-awareness going on, a lot of self-communication going on, and a lot of where have you tapped into delusion within your authentic self? And what I mean is, where are you not fully coming clean? Because it's going to be showing itself. And this is actually a good thing. And I don't even mean coming clean. How can I put this? It's your higher self, but see, your higher self, when I'm getting into it, and the way I'm trying to figure out how to explain what I see versus what I'm being told by spirit. Your ninth house, which is your spiritual self, is Pisces. Pisces has a lot of energy going on. And it's where I'm really projected to the most. You have a lot going on in the 12th house, but cleaning up that 9th house is what's going to clean up that 12th house. And all of your outer relationships, including how you feel about yourself. And that 9th house has everything to do with your source connection. But Pisces energies has Neptune in it right now. And it has from the 7th through the 11th, Mars and Ceres starting to conjunct. And they're going to be conjuncting all month. Mars is your inner warrior, SWAT team. Your passion, action, aggression. Your sexual energy. But the 9th house is the higher communication of self. Ceres is karma. She's the threefold coming into karma. But she speaks to you about what hits underneath the belt and hits you in the gut. Because she's truly making you see where you're spiritually connected to your truth versus where you're in denial of it, where you're nurturing it or neglecting it. Pisces energy can very much be where fantasy smacks you in the face with harsh reality. So this is what I'm saying is where are you tapping in truly to the higher self, that source connection, that authenticity, your psychic energy, your ethics, your morals, your visions, your higher mind, versus shifting into the truth of what you know you are and holding on to 12th house deceiving ideas of being afraid of who you are. Because sometimes as we grow, we question or fear our own power. And you're going through a lot of that. Not necessarily the fearing. Maybe it is. But it's taking that next step forward. Before I get into anything else about astrology, because this is what I was getting from Spirit, I started the video earlier, but for whatever reason, I didn't have enough storage, so I had to erase some stuff and come back. And that's why I didn't have to go into the channel. I knew what Spirit already was telling me because of it. And they're saying now again, yeah, it definitely has a lot to do with communication, heart over head as well. And looking at things from that spiritual, soulful connection and connecting to the heart over the head. Meaning, are you connecting more with a materialistic idea, three-dimensional, or are you rising above that? Some of you are definitely just going through spiritual. They're still making me channel. Some of you are just going through spiritual uplifting, spiritual ascension. Some of this is going to deal with spouses, money, finances. But this is all going to come down to what kind of communication are you having and what dimensional self are you dealing with? Are you very three-dimensional materialistic? Are you really starting to listen to the heart, the soul, and a higher expectation? Higher investment? Anything else? Some of you, it may be, instead of spouses, it may be siblings. Or just the home in general. Neighbors, very up close. And it definitely is dealing all the way around with that communication. Okay, before I get into anything else about astrology, I'm throwing it out there for everybody, especially if you've been following me for a while. I am starting to come out with my first spiritual healthcare line. And it's starting off with my essential oils. And the reason I'm putting them in this video, and I'm telling you real fast, is because the first line is all about astrology and how I see it, and then how Spirit and I have combined the oils to be like a spiritual healthcare medicine. So each one is created off of the way I view spirit of that planet and what it can bring of healing to you. There will be essential oils. In the future, I'm going to be making some milk baths, salt milk baths, as well as spray mists. But I'm starting off just with the oils so I don't get over my head too fast. And I know I have other lines I've already created. I'm just bringing them out little bits at a time. So please keep an eye out for that on social media. Or you can check my website itself and see when they start popping up, because they'll be dropping soon. LadyStarsandFire.com. With that being said, I was telling you, now from the 7th through the 11th, Mars and Ceres is starting to conjunct. And they're moving out of Aquarius and into Pisces, the energies are. So for the most part, you're feeling this in the Pisces energy. Now, like I said, you're going to start feeling that Mars, your inner warrior, your inner SWAT team, your inner belly dancer, inner sacral chakra and solar plexus. How you feel about yourself versus really coming into the confidence of I am. And stepping that into your spiritual authority of your higher self, your higher mind, your ethics, your morals, religion, philosophy, your spiritual urges and spiritual truths. Ouch. Hurt my tooth. And why... And the reason it's coming this way is because of Ceres. Ceres, more or less cruising right along with Mars, is the threefold, is karma. But she speaks to you about too close to home, hitting underneath the belt, hitting in the gut, about what you've nurtured or what you've neglected. And what karmic energy will you be bringing to yourself because of what you've nurtured or neglected? Of tapping into the true roots of you, more than you, your spiritual, soulful existence beyond you. And then what is the truth within that? Mars is really asking you, are you stepping into you? Are you stepping into your flame, your fire? Are you really connected with that source energy, your soulfulness? Or where have you created self-deceptions of ideas that makes you think that you have, but really it's 12th house issues that's kept you from truly diving in deep into your spiritual waters? And it has that mix because of that 12th house. Now, you're going to notice that between the 7th and the 11th start to take effect. But between the 20th and the 27th, it's going to be in 1 degree of each other, these two are. And they're definitely going to be giving you energy. You're definitely going to be feeling either the lesson or the lesson that's learned between the 20th through the 27th. Now, on regular astrology, on the 10th through the 17th, that's going to be also a very sensitive week. And that's because you have so many planets. They're shifting from direct to retrograde during that week. Spirit is telling me to pay attention to Saturn and Pallas when I get into your astrology. In Libra. So let me take a look here, and then we'll kind of go through it all. Let me put this over here as my little extra notes to myself here. In your first house, this is where the self-awareness is coming in. You don't have anything here but the North Node, and the North Node is running out of time. That's Rahu. And Rahu in Cancer speaks to you about what you nurture. And are you learning to nurture it right? Well, it's your first house. It's your very character. It's the awareness of you, your personality, your view. But it's your core. It's what you're seeing. It's how you see yourself. It's your appearance, your view of life, your identification, your image. It's the character, the personality, and the awareness of who and what you are. Are you nurturing it honestly? Because whatever you haven't learned in the next year, it's going to be that North Node, Rahu, will be in your 12th house, getting into all of those self-denials, self-deceptions, where you've accidentally created some of your own self-undoing. And like I said, what I'm being given more or less is like a triangle of like your self-awareness versus that 12th house. Even though on astrology, it's not going to look like this is what Spirit's giving me. It's kind of like the three pieces that come together. And it's that awareness versus that 12th house. Those things that you just aren't seeing. I feel like it's like a deer in headlight. Like you're looking at it, but you're just missing it. And the soulful connection forcing you to truly start to come up out of it. So the further you are in honest, true depth of self, especially over where you've, I don't even want to say told yourself lies, because the 12th house is grief, sorrow, shame, and blame. And for you, this is Gemini. This is also where Venus is about to go retrograde. This is also where you're going to have the new moon on the 22nd. So this whole month is building up to the energies of what that new moon is trying to help you set a new example for the new lunar cycle. New moons are all about new beginnings. In Gemini, with Venus retrograde, because Venus goes retrograde on the 13th. You also have Mercury in Gemini right up until the 28th. Mercury moves in on the 11th. And it's spending absolutely no time in Gemini. It's like, let me just dish the fuck out what I got to dish out, and I'm moving on. So this energy of communication in that 12th house is going to rise fast. For some of you, this is going to deal with government issues, government officials, government offices, child support, anything that has to do with government. Could be also, you know, the possibility of opening up and reworking again in areas. But it's the 12th house, the hidden self, the hidden self-deception, self-undoing. The habits we've created because of things that have actually, it's like insecurities that we created to become a security, but it's habits that we've continued to hold on to that actually don't serve us, and we have to see them for what they are in order for us to heal. Your new moon is bringing all of this to light and setting the new direction. And as long as you're being completely upfront and honest and willing to dive into your depths, then this is going to be a positive thing for you. It will be a form of a short journey that you are washing yourself clean through. That was them. That was not me. Investing in yourself and investing in your self-communication right now. And don't pay attention to any gossip. Gossip is just the evil's full of trying to make you fall back in. Okay, but that's pretty much your first and your 12th house because they're colliding. Like I said, your Rahu, which is teaching you about how to nurture yourself right, and where you're making mistakes and neglecting areas is in your self-awareness, but that energy is moving into the 12th house. Now, your second and your third house, you don't have anything going on in. But Spirit said to pay attention to your 4th house. Your 4th house has Juno in it. Now, Juno is in retrograde up until the 27th, which means it's been very much inwardly communicating with you. And Juno is sacrifice and commitment. In Libra, with how Maya and make here, this is the collective consciousness of, are you raising? I always call Haumea the lotus flower. The lotus flower grows in the swamp. The most spiritual truth of depth and genuine honesty of spirituality comes from digging through your inner waters, your inner depth, your inner mud. Juno, sacrifice and commitment in retrograde, in the 4th house, speaking to you about balance, harmony. Where are you putting harmony in anything but yourself? Where are you putting harmony into the idea of the 3-dimensional home? But you're not putting it here first. Because if you're not putting that true depth of inner emotional security here, this inner emotional security isn't going to be thriving as well either. The collective consciousness is in the home right now. It's in your inner child, your inner depths, your inner roots. It's speaking to you about either where your inner emotional security is tapping into insecurities because it's time to heal it, see it, acknowledge it, and correct it. Or it's tapping into inner emotional security. But the true roots have to come from here, not from here. And this is where the delusion may be. Is it 3-dimensional security, or is it 5D and higher security? Like I said, the home has everything to do with with Libra, which is harmony and balance. Libra is really good at showing you where it's out of harmony and balance. But Libra wants so badly to communicate gently that it puts itself on the back burner. So this is saying it's important for you not to miss the beat of what's important in here. Or all of this is for naught. All of this isn't going to be the true home security that you're trying to create, because it starts in here. It's more or less what they were pointing out. Sacrificing commitment in retrograde up until the 27th, meaning it's really teaching you some lessons up until the 27th. Then it enters shadow again as it goes direct. So pay attention to what the soul is telling you right now about where inner emotional security is and what do you value about it? What is it? And is it a 3-dimensional level or higher? Are you really investing in and honoring what comes from here, or what your eyes tell you is create security? That 3rd-dimensional idea. Now, you don't have anything else in your houses up until we get to the 7th and 8th house. The 8th house, I'm skipping the 7th and I'm going to go back. The 8th house is where Spirit was telling me to pay attention to Saturn and Pallas. Now, the 8th house is the rules of these relationships. And are these rules of these relationships creating a transformational healing? You have Saturn here. Saturn is rules, walls, and boundaries. The 8th house is also about rules, walls, and boundaries. But Saturn in Aquarius is willing to stretch its wings and let me try new things. Pallas is strategic thinking. She's Athena, the warrior goddess. She's wisdom. Both of them are going retrograde. Saturn goes retrograde on the 11th. Pallas goes retrograde on the 18th. Which means up until those dates, it's in a darker aspect. They're in shadow. Which means these rules, these walls, these boundaries of these relationships are touching base on those insecurities. It's touching base on where these boundaries need to shift, where a new foundation needs to be created in order for healthy relationships to move forward. This is a positive thing, even though it may be touching base on uncomfortable situations. It's forcing you to make a new foundation, a new platform of what your relationships will be set upon. And how does that serve you? Because it's your life. I mean, we want to be cooperative within our relationships, but at the end of the day, it is your life. It's the life you are living. And if the boundaries and the relationships and the rules, joint efforts, joint resources, joint finances of these relationships, whether they're home, spouse, children, parents, working environments, friends, whatever these relationships are about, if the foundation doesn't have something strong to be standing upon, then your level of them working for you aren't going to work for you. You're seeing where these relationships in the past have been set incorrectly, and how you need to shift that so that the relationships, again, friends, working environments, family, children, parents, spouses, anything you care about, you have a relationship with. So in order for you to have a very cooperative, safe, healthy, mature, growing relationship with these people, it all has to do with what are the boundaries, and are you being pushed against the wall? Is your part in the relationship not as balanced, not as fair? Because the 7th house, which is the relationships, has Pluto and Jupiter in retrograde. Jupiter goes retrograde on the 14th. Are you okay? My little kitty cat's sneezing. Pluto is in your 7th house, Capricorn, really wanting to have good, concrete, cemented relationships. But Aquarius is saying this is where they've been wrong. Saturn's about to go back into the relationship zone and come out of the rules, but into the actual relationship. But not for another month or two, I think. You still have you still have Pluto here. Pluto in retrograde is the only planet when it goes retrograde that doesn't turn inward. Pluto is always inward. Pluto just starts whooping your ass when it's in retrograde. Going, I ain't taking this shit anymore. Jupiter in retrograde, in a fall position in Capricorn, which is your relationships, is not in its strongest, but it's bringing abundance, knowledge, and manifestation to it. So if you're not setting healthy relationships, healthy foundations, then these relationships are actually taking from your spirit. And they're forcing you, more or less in a ball of flame is what I'm just getting from them, to see, is the ball of flame helping you be part of your flame? Or is it taking away your flame because it's burning right past you? This is more or less what you're starting to feel within. Will you take action is what I was just told. Will you take action? Will you It's the Mars energy, passion, action, aggression, inner SWAT team. Do you have confidence within these relationships? Are you secure within these relationships? Are you balanced and fair within these relationships? They're going retrograde. You're going to be noticing this for half the year, but starting now, which is helping you to really decide if the people in these relationships are the ones you want to continue to be in them with, or if just new foundations need to be set thoroughly. Now, we already talked about that 9th house. So, your 10th house, though, is speaking about your honor, your reputation, your prestige, your financial career, your social foundations. It's the outer world and that outer authority. This is where Chiron and Lilith are. This is saying right off the bat that there are situations that need healing. And it's going to go right back to those relationships and setting proper foundations. Some of these foundations, walls, boundaries may directly be the relationships you have with the outer community. Not just that relationship with spouse, children, family. Because it's your honor, your reputation, your social foundations, but it's also what helps build the financial success. Chiron is here saying there's something about the stories you've told yourself, the beliefs you've believed in yourself that's kept you from achieving it, kept you from really growing. It's time to heal that. It's taking you back to that 9th house. Let's really see our truths. Let's get past our own self-deceptions. Really come into the healing of this. But you have Eris at the end of Aries, which is trouble, toil, strife, and injustice. So will you fight just for pride? Because pride is ego. Will you have to have that honor, that reputation, that prestige, just to show that you have it? Or will you rise above that and go what truly is important? Are you going to sink your teeth into injustices that's going to keep you going down the same road? Or are you going to make the healing, which is ultimately going to shift your outer community and shift your world and your own outer authority? Now, your 11th house is where you have Uranus. Independence, individuality, uniqueness, freedom, self-worth, self-value, self-esteem, because it's still in Taurus. On a universal level, that's the 2nd house. The 10th house is the relationships with the community, your friends. But it's also where your self-realization within these friendships come in, because are your friends really your friends, the community that you keep? Do they actually honor and invest in your own dreams, goals, ambitions? Do they help you step into that power? Or are they taking from you? Uranus is asking you to step into your independence, to be the individual that you are and express that individuality. Because that's where your true self-realization comes in, and that's where you'll find the true soul tribe is there or is not, which support you or will not. But you also have the soul fire right now, which also, the soul fire is in your 12th house of bringing that healing in. You have the sun illuminating these relationships right up until it moves into your 12th house on the 20th, 2 days before that new moon. The relationships are being illuminated to show you if there needs to be cords cut, if they're really there for you. What I did not discuss is your full moon. And another sister sign, it's your 5th house. This is your inner emotional, not inner emotional, this is your creative expression, your pursuit of pleasure. Are you getting to enjoy the things you enjoy, or are people taking it away from you because they're trying to get you to do so many things for them? This is your creativity, your love, your personal interests, dating, romance. Do you have time to enjoy what makes you tick, what makes you want to be part of life? Because the full moon is going to be asking you that. The full moon is going to be saying, yes, I feel very good and comfortable and I enjoy this, or I really don't. And this is why. Because it's in Scorpio, and Scorpio hits the emotions beneath the belt. But it's also all about sexuality. So it's asking you, in your sexual energy, that sacral chakra, are you thriving? And coming into I am, and are you confident? Or are you not getting the time to be you and enjoy you? Because it's going to be pushing you forward to see where you're going to take it come that new moon. I love you guys. Bye.